I've tried 2 different methods. I've tried the methods that you guys said, and I've also tried my methods. And to be honest with you guys, neither one of them worked for me. All right, cool. You want to meet today? I think I can do that. And the M1 Mac Mini is sold. All right, bet. Cool. All right, MacBook Air. All right, let's see what you got for me. All right. What up, y'all? CKid here, man. And y'all already know I've had my struggles and different things like that with the M1 Mac Mini. And before I actually make my final decision on which M1 machine I actually want to go with, I felt like it wouldn't necessarily be fair if I didn't give the brand new M1 MacBook Air a shot as well. So here we are. And I'm being honest with you guys, man. I'm letting you guys in on the buying decision and letting you guys see my highs as well as my lows when it comes to deciding which purchase that I'm probably going to go with in my final decision. So don't necessarily be judging me on some of the bad decisions that I've been making here. Look, hey guys, I ain't perfect out here. Now, Apple actually mentioned that the MacBook Air, guys, is their most sold MacBook that they got in their entire lineup. So I personally need to see for myself and let y'all know, is it even worth me actually replacing my M1 Mac Mini for? And if you guys need to buy it, and just some of the things you guys need to look out for. So that's what we're gonna be talking about in this video. Now, secretly, guys, I'll be honest with you guys, I've been using the MacBook Air in the cut for a little while now, testing it out and seeing, you know, can it actually handle some of the things that I needed to be able to handle? The short answer to that question is yes and no. But I want to start with the no first and just give you guys some of my concerns that I have with the MacBook Air that I feel like a lot of people aren't necessarily being real or transparent about. And so this is what we're going to talk about in this video. So for starters, man, let's go ahead and talk about the MacBook Air and just me using it with this normal day, everyday tasks like web browsing, Microsoft applications, watching YouTube video content, checking and responding to emails, taking notes, listening to music, all of that stuff that normal people do on their computers and their laptops. This thing actually handled it no problem. And to be honest with you guys, with it actually not having a fan, it's still kind of crazy to me. And we're gonna get into kind of the pros and cons of that a little later in this video. But when I was using it for those types of tasks, I literally had no problems with it when I use it as a laptop, meaning not hooking it up to these monitors that you guys see behind me, and we're gonna talk about that here in a second. Like, when I use this, man, it was so freaking quiet at times, I literally forgot that it was even a laptop and not a tablet. But I think not having a fan in it still comes with some advantages as well as disadvantages. So one of the disadvantages that stood out to me the most is when I actually plugged it into my monitors that you guys are seeing behind me, it handled it like a champ, no problem at all. But here's where my biggest issue actually came to play, is when I began to do video editing on it. Now, can it handle it? Yes, it can handle it as well, no problem, all of that. But when I tell you guys, no doubt this machine got hot, it literally kind of made me uncomfortable to be able to continue to use it for a task like that. Now, I was actually able to get through a couple of full edits on it, including this video that you guys are watching right now. But I'm just concerned with how well it's actually gonna hold up over time and how long it's gonna last, because I'd imagine that internals like that, getting crazy hot like that inside of this machine, could literally have some serious long-term effect. But I can't lie, it is a good feeling, guys, being able to quietly edit and just do normal day-to-day stuff on a laptop without it actually sounding like a spaceship taking off like I constantly get on my 2018 15-inch i9 $2,500 MacBook Pro. Yeah, this thing sounds like a spaceship. Like for example, man, I want you guys to listen how freaking quiet this thing is. Just listen. Not a single sound. That's what I'm talking about. Now, let's go ahead and talk about some of the advantages. All right, so one of the obvious advantages to not actually having a fan in it is how quiet it's gonna be, like we just actually talked about. Because being able to do whatever task, you know, whether it's web browsing, video editing, photo editing, taking notes, listening to music, gaming, even when I'm gaming through my PlayStation, which we're gonna get to here in a second, the fact that I can do all of those tasks and this thing is not gonna make a single sound is 100% win, especially when I'm coming from this 2018 $2,500, you know, i9 MacBook Pro, you know, that sounds like a freaking spaceship. I can appreciate when Apple decides to create machines like this and really try to push the boundaries and push the limits to it, but, you know, and not actually make a sound. Hey, I can appreciate that. So if you're someone out there, man, that's just looking for a laptop that's not necessarily going to break the bank and you're still wanting to just do normal everyday tasks on it, not including video editing or any type of heavy lifting like that, then I definitely think you guys are going to be happy with this 2020 M1 MacBook Air. All right, y'all, so something else that I actually had to get used to that I'm kind of missing on my 2018 MacBook Pro, and that is the ability of having more USB-C or Thunderbolt 3 ports versus on my MacBook Pro here that I have, I get 4 ports on this machine versus on here, I'm only getting 2. So for me, it's kind of something that I wish they would at least given us maybe 3. 3 I think is good, but I think 2, having that 2 USB-C or Thunderbolt 3 life is just not the wave at all. Because only having 2 ports on this machine versus 4 on my MacBook Pro really limits you when it actually comes to plugging things up. For example, like I told you guys, I don't personally use the internal storages when it comes to saving things on my Mac machines, whether it's my Mac Mini or whether it's my laptop. I don't use the internal storage at all because I prefer to use a SSD or some type of external hard drive to be able to save a lot of that stuff on, because over the time of using this machine or whatever machine you guys are using is going to keep that machine running smooth like you got it day one. So for me, I personally use, and what I recommend you guys get and pick up, and I have these linked down in the description section below, is I recommend using an SSD. I have the Samsung T5 or the T7. Now I use these to work off of. They fast, reliable, they work, never crashed on me. But look at this, guys. Once I plug one in to one port, right? I got this port plugged in. Now I'm using this. Now, for example, let's say I plug another one in to get my monitors to actually display. So boom, that takes up that port. Now I'm already out of ports. So you're probably saying to yourself right now, well, CKid, well, what else would you need that you actually need to plug into it? Well, for starters, since if you guys are Mac users or MacBook Pro or MacBook Air users, then you know these machines no longer come with SD card slots. And I would actually need a USB-C port to be able to plug my dongle in that I use, which is this dongle right here that I personally use that has an SD card slot on it. And I use this to load in all of my footage, even the footage you guys are looking at right now. So that way I can put it on my SSD drive and be able to edit off of. But again, I'm all out of ports. And I can't lie, I had the same issue with the M1 Mac Mini because that machine only has 2 ports as well. So I had to buy this extra little device here. Let me get this extra device and show you guys exactly what I bought in order to be able to somewhat solve this problem. So I went out and had to buy this little device here, man. This is called the TS3 Plus by CalDigit. I highly recommend you guys pick this device up, man. I cannot stress enough how well this thing works. I've personally been using it for the Mac Mini. I literally bought one for there, but I actually needed another one because I'm working on a whole nother setup that I got over here. But I'm telling you guys, man, you get so many ports with this thing. You literally get 2 additional Thunderbolt ports. You get 1 display port, gigabit Ethernet, SD card reader, USB port. You get it all on this thing right here. And this plugs in 1 single port into your MacBook Air, and it works no problem. Not sponsored, by the way, but this TS3 Plus is really good. And shout out to my guy CJ from CJ Knows Tech. I'll link his channel down below for you guys to check out. But he actually put me onto that, man, and I freaking love that thing. Now, another thing that I gotta point out that I tested with this MacBook Air that I mentioned in my previous video is Bluetooth connection with my Logitech MS Master Keys and my MS Master Mouse. Now, this was one of the biggest issues that I had with the Mac Mini that really kind of frustrated me. Now, I tested this out using 2 methods, and actually one of the methods was coming from you guys, so shout out to y'all for this recommendation. So I tried it the original way where I had like the Bluetooth connection set up through the Logitech application on the machine. So when I tried it that way, it worked, but it worked the same way that it worked on my Mac Mini. And then I said, you know what, let me try it the way that you guys recommended by using the little USB-A dongle from Logitech. And let me go get that dongle so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. It's literally this little piece. It's literally this little piece right here. It's like a little Logitech USB. It's like a little small USB. I don't know if you guys can see it, but this is what I actually use. I plugged it into the little TS3 Plus device that I just showed you guys. In the beginning, it kind of like stuttered a little bit for like the first 30 seconds. And then I was kind of like, oh man, it's still doing the exact same thing. Then it kind of got freed up for about a good, I say about a good 30 minutes. It worked well. And then all of a sudden, then it started to stutter again. So again, I'm not sure what's going on with the Bluetooth within either M1 or the Big Sur operating system, but it is definitely something that is an issue with these brand new Macs that I think you guys need to be aware of. Now, a lot of people out there saying, well, Devin, you can just plug in another cable right into the back of these machines or whatever. Yes, I could do that, but again, I shouldn't have to, because Bluetooth technology is not something that is new. I feel like this is something that Apple just needs to fix versus it being something whereas I have to conform to, you know, just hardwiring, plugging in, because again, I don't want to have to complicate my setup even more with more cables and different things like that if I don't have to. And so I feel like with these machines having new Bluetooth 5.0 in it, I feel like I shouldn't have these issues. Again, this could be on Logitech's side, or this could be on my side, or it could be on Apple's side. I don't know. I've tried two different methods. I've tried the methods that you guys said, and I've also tried my methods. And to be honest with you guys, neither one of them worked for me. So I say all of that to say this: before you guys jump out there and just dump your current MacBook Pro or your current Mac that you guys have, just keep that in mind that this machine, as well as the Mac Mini, does have Bluetooth connection issues. Now, my last two experiences I need to see if it could be able to handle was gaming via my PS5 through OBS and all of that, as well as what the battery life is like. Now, I did game and capture all of this footage using OBS, and this is where the MacBook Air completely let me know it is definitely not built for that type of computing. Now, one of the biggest things that Apple announced was the M1 chip in itself, which, like I mentioned before, the M1 chip, guys, is a beast. And I mentioned that before in my previous video, but one question that I had was, if the MacBook Air, the Mac Mini, as well as the 13-inch MacBook Pro all have the new M1 chip in it, then what's going to be that deciding factor of which one I should buy if they all have the same processor in it? And this scenario that I ran in regards to recording gameplay footage through my PlayStation via my Elgato capture card, this is where I can see having a fan in a machine like the MacBook Pro definitely comes in handy. Now, when I was using OBS on here with my PS5, capturing all the game footage through Elgato's capture card, it will record 1080p, 30 frames per second, and wouldn't drop too many frames, but it still would drop some frames. But my issue wasn't necessarily with that. My issue was this machine, guys, would actually instantly heat up, letting me know it doesn't necessarily have enough dedicated graphics in it to be able to handle this type of performance that's needed. Also, with it heating up like that, y'all, I wouldn't trust it on a 1 to 2 hour live stream with it, especially if you guys plan on gaming on it as well, because over time, I couldn't see the MacBook Air being around for that long haul if you guys need something to be able to handle that type of heavy lifting. Now, the last thing that I have to give props for on this machine is battery life management. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Battery life on this machine, guys, is freaking amazing. I mean, it legit crushes my 2018 i9 MacBook Pro that you guys have been seeing in this video. Like legit, I have to keep this laptop here on the charger because the battery life is just gonna be gone in no time. Whereas on the MacBook Air here, I legit would feel comfortable leaving my charger at home, going to a local coffee shop and working there for hours and still know that I'm gonna have plenty of battery life left on this machine when I leave that shop and go somewhere else. So man, I gave you guys a crazy amount of information in this video to actually think about when it comes to looking into the new M1 MacBook Air. But I say all of that to say this: I'm actually going to keep it for a little while just to see if I'm able to do what I actually want to do with it and how well it actually holds up. But if I were you, and if you guys are looking to pick one of these up, just keep a few things in mind from this video. This machine is good for normal, basic tasks like web browsing, answering or responding to emails, watching casual YouTube videos, listening to music, online shopping, taking notes, just basically all the overall things while maintaining being quiet at the same time. So if that's what you guys are looking to buy a laptop for, then I think the MacBook Air is definitely going to be something you guys need to pick up, and you guys are going to be happy with your purchase. And on top of that, you won't have to worry about overheating or anything like that, and the battery life on this machine is just unmatched. But if you guys are looking to use this to replace your current Intel-based MacBook Pro, then I wouldn't necessarily go that far for it just yet. Like I said, it can handle it, but I think long term, I don't feel that comfortable with using it for tasks like, you know, video editing for crazy hours or even recording my gameplay footage like I told you guys about in this video. Mainly because of the lack of fans that it needs to keep these internals cool to be able to handle that type of heavy lifting. Well guys, if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, man, feel free to give this video a thumbs up, as well as go ahead and click on that subscribe button because I have more content that's going to be coming around these M1 machines and going to keep pumping them out for you guys. Now, if you guys have any questions, leave it down for me down in the comment section below. Also, have you guys ever wasted a lot of money on a piece of tech? Well, I did in this video right here, and click on that video and find out what mistake I actually made. I'll see y'all over there. Peace. Yo, why you still here? Yo fam, click on the video, bro.